All right, good morning. Welcome back. I hope everybody had a great break and a safe break with family and got to enjoy the holidays. So, as we enter back into school for the second half of the school year, just to give you a little bit of an overview, we are currently entering week 6 of the 12-week trimester for visual arts, my class. So, um, we're getting closer to the halfway point. We have done one project. I would say we did get off to a little bit of a slow start, just with the whole e-learning experience and everything like that. So we will begin our next project starting this week. At this point, we have done 4 sketchbook assignments. Okay, so hopefully um, everybody is up to speed with the sketchbook assignments. And you've also done one project so far. Okay, let me delete this real quick. It just caught my attention. So if you take a look at your grades, I've had quite a few students that are falling behind. I'm not sure if it's because they're not exactly following the week at a glance, which is um, really like the go-to guide for my entire course. Everything is in the week at a glance. I know that a lot of you already noticed that. We have the blue links in the week at a glance. A lot of those links actually just guide you to Polaris and where you need to go. But a lot of them also go to external links, such as my YouTube channel, where you are given an exact demonstration on how to complete the specific task. Okay, so it's really important that everybody's following the week at a glance. It's really important that everybody's checking their grades. Um, and it's also most important that we are going day by day, putting forth effort so that our grade reflects the effort that we put in. Okay, so let's take a look at what this week looks like, and then we will go from there. So this is your weekly overview. I will try to kind of make this a little shorter so you're a little bit more enticed to watch the video, and hopefully you stick it out throughout this whole video because sometimes there's important information at the end. On Monday, so January 4th, that's our first day back after Christmas break, we will begin our first project, or sorry, our second project, but the first project after break. And that project is going to be Animalize. Okay. So when you watch the links, remember you got to click the link if you need an introduction, obviously. So what I do is on Monday, I want to go from top to bottom in this column. And I want to make sure that I go through every single piece of information. I try not to put too much information. I don't think this is too wordy. So it's really just simple information on how to complete the assignment. You're going to need to watch this video because it'll introduce you to the assignment and you'll get a really good idea of what we're actually going to be doing with those Animalize. Okay. How to begin. Okay, so let's see what it says. Today, you will complete a rough draft sketch of an animal eye. So does everyone understand what rough draft means? Rough draft means that it's a practice sketch. So I believe there was a little bit of confusion with the graffiti project where students didn't understand that the rough draft was completely separate from the final draft. It's just like if you're writing an essay for language arts class and your teacher asks you to complete a rough draft. That's just practice so that you can familiarize yourself with all the different techniques and concepts that we're trying to apply to the actual project. It's the same thing, like I said, for language arts or history. Whenever you complete a rough draft, it's just to get you ready for the final draft. Okay, so there are going to be a few different assignments within the time frame of this project, and I'll get to the other one in a second. So the rough draft, it's just a sketch. Okay, you don't need to spend a ton of time on it. What it does is it gets you thinking about how you want to draw it, how to set it up, and it gives you that kind of, like I said, that repetition of starting the project, the process of the project, and plus it gives you an idea to experiment a little bit with different images that you find on the internet. So how do you research an up-close animal eye? Well, listen, there's a link right here that shows you exactly how to do that. Okay. There's also going to be resources put into Polaris, so you can look and see. You can see some examples that I pulled up for you, and you're more than welcome to use those. Just so you know, a lot of students will probably use those. So sometimes I know students like to be individualized and they like to be creative and different from everybody else. So those are probably the most common eyes, but you really need to make sure that you choose an eyeball that is up close, and we're talking about singular eyeballs. So we don't want to do two. And although all of this is going to be explained in these links, so you just really want to make sure that you watch those links. On Tuesday, you're going to notice that it's a work day. So after Monday, the goal for Tuesday, take a deep breath. Okay, we just took in more information. Take a deep breath, and we're going to put in 40 minutes of effort and time into that rough draft sketch. Okay, very good. So the rough draft, just so you know, is going to count towards sketchbook assignment number 5. Okay. So when you are working within your 40-minute time frame for each day, remember when you begin this project, you are first going to do a rough draft. That rough draft is going to be turned in for sketchbook assignment number 5, and you will get a 30-point process grade for that sketch. Okay. So if you think about how much time should you put into it, how are you going to be graded on that? You're graded on value, proportion, and effort. Okay, value, proportion, and effort. And what that means is you will spend, like I said, not a lot of time, but you're going to spend about 45 minutes on that rough draft sketch. Okay, and like I said, it'll count towards sketchbook assignment number 5. When you finish your rough draft sketch, okay, technically you don't need to finish it until Friday at 11:59, but I would probably presume that most of you will finish it Tuesday or Wednesday. What you need to do next is we have what's called a prerequisite for this assignment, okay, for this project. The prerequisite is going to be that you need to complete a 10-step value scale. Okay, and I have my date wrong on here. So you will complete a 10-step value scale, and it's going to be due Friday. It's going to be due Friday, January 8th. All right, so that's the end of the week. So at the end of the week, you will have 2 assignments that are due. All right. Now, this is a great week for people that are self-paced and that like to just work ahead and crank things out, and that's great. This week is going to be perfect for you. If you finish that value scale with 100% effort and you finish that sketchbook assignment number 5, remember it's your rough draft, and you have them all turned in, that is all I'm asking you to do for the week of January 4th to the 8th. Okay. Now, it doesn't hurt to move ahead. So probably on Monday or Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday, what you'll notice is that there's going to be, if you look at the folder in Polaris that says "Are you ahead?" you can always move ahead to the part that shows you how to start the final draft. And a matter of fact, on Friday it says that right here. But let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. Okay, so you're going to create this 10-step value scale, and you're going to have Wednesday to work on it, Thursday to work on it, and Friday. Now, at some point on Friday, you should look into how to start your final draft. Okay. And that's where you're going to start working a little bit ahead. So, how to start the final draft? Remember, the final draft is not your rough draft. So, you can just set aside the rough draft. A lot of people ask me, do they have to use the same image as your rough draft? Well, obviously, the purpose of doing a rough draft is for the practice of getting those techniques and figuring out proportion and scale and even some value. But if you do end up not liking that or preferring that image of your rough draft, you are more than welcome to change the image and go back and complete something new. You do not have to redo the rough draft, but you should start with the same process for the final draft. Okay. So yes, you are allowed to change the image. Is it recommended? Not necessarily, but it is an option if you end up wanting to choose something else. Okay. So the next thing is your assignments that are due Friday. Okay, and I'll put your value scale. Let's see. Oh no, the value scale is up here. Value scale due Friday. 30 process points for the value scale. So you're going to have two 30-point process grades. Remember that by the end of Friday, you should be starting the final draft and you should have your value scale and sketchbook number 5 completed. Okay. The last thing that I wanted to just quickly mention was that if you are missing an assignment, you need to really make sure that number one, you communicate with me. That's the most important thing. Communication will always help you. Okay. If you ever get in trouble, it's better to communicate so that when the consequences come down, they're going to be a lot lighter because you were responsible and you were mature enough to reach out, communicate, and it always helps both parties, okay, including me and including you. All right. So always reach out. A lot of times, to be honest with you, if you reach out and you stay ahead of things and you realize and you admit your mistakes, a lot of times I don't even take points off. Okay. But if I don't hear from you, and you maybe just forgot or weren't organized enough to stay on task, and to be accountable, then yes, I'm going to be taking points off. So remember, every day, including weekends, including Christmas, winter, spring break, every day is 1 point off. Okay. Some of you also had a couple concerns about the grade um, for the graffiti project. Just so you know, originally that assignment is typically worth 40 product points. Okay. What I ended up doing was I ended up making that 100 process. The reason why that is because with e-learning, I know that a lot of our students are accustomed to being in person, and I didn't think it would be very fair to make something that was done with 100% e-learning, which isn't a lot of people's preference. I didn't think that that would really truly be fair to make that a huge grade, um, and then some people maybe not do well, and it's going to be really hard to make that up. So I ended up making it 100 process points. I have not gotten around to grading those assignments just yet, but I will grade those towards the beginning of this week. And we will get all caught up. I will make sure to communicate with parents and students by the end of the week to continue moving forward and gaining some momentum heading into the second half of the school year. So hopefully that all makes sense. And if you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to email me. I'm always here. I'm always available. So with that, let's have a great week and welcome back to school.